All right, welcome back, baseball fans. This is an eliminating the Los Angeles Dodgers video in stunning fashion. They were a playoff team a year ago. Well, I think they were already. How far did they go in the last year? They went pretty far. A year ago, they were 27-19. Made it to the wild card round, losing to the Mets, 4-3. Played pretty well, but lost to the Mets. This year, it's not good at all, really. The stats, funny part about it, are reasonably close, batting average and ERA. But net runs, they had plus 40 net runs a year ago. This year, minus 2. 122 for, 124 against. I don't know where to blame it. It's just collectively, Willie Davis didn't steal enough bases, maybe. The pitching staff was very good, but it wasn't great or ridiculously great as it has been. Don Sutton had been untouchable. Jim Brewer had been untouchable. Messersmith, Osteen, John, all of them, but not so much. This team can boast 400 hitters. 2 of them didn't play enough, though, to get any consideration for a batting title. Maybe he should have played them more. Even Billy Cohen, a pickup utility player, did okay for him. Garvey got that 74 card rolling, made an all-star game at first base. Oddly enough, replacing Wes Parker, who had all-star game appearances for me at first base for the Dodgers. He's away now. This is Willie Davis's final appearance with a 271 card, and it's finally the most normal of his years. He had better years every other time we've used it. Crawford, we can say okay. Lopes okay. Then the regular cornerstone Dodger players, Russell not so much, Ferguson not so much, Ronsay terrible. And for the pitching, Jim Brewer was a good closer, not had enough opportunities. It's funny, he lost one game. He gave up 2 runs all year, lost 1 game. What's really strange about the Brewer card is that he lost 7 games with it in 72, and he only gave up an ERA of 1.27 in 78 innings. You do the math, and it's like, how do you lose 7 games when you have a 1.27 ERA in 78 innings? And it's because he gave up 9 runs, but it caused 7 defeats. It must have been in all 1-run games, or tied or something. Yeah, so Sutton was fine. You know, not as untouchable as before. And Messersmith, Osteen, and John collectively are 6-12. That's not going to get it done, folks. Not going to get it done. Let's take a look now at the Dodgers. We know 74 they're a World Series team, but maybe in 71, 72, and 73 they're out in the desert a little bit, trying to figure things out. They're trying to transition out of the Willie Davis era, the Billy Grabarkowitz era, the Wes Parker era, and they haven't gotten their, the cornerstone players, Garvey, Say, Lopes, and Russell, and so forth, to produce in that big way they would in 74. Maybe next year, probably next year, they're going to have a big bounce back, is what I would predict. We're going to pull out 871 players. And there they are. 8 71s are pulled out here, which leaves us with 12 other guys. And this is where we're going to see what these guys look like. Okay, so the average split is 7-5. And the Dodgers, are they going to do it 8-4? We're going to go 8-4. So they're going to bring back slightly more hitters than pitchers. But the cornerstones are right there. So there they are. They're sitting there. Garvey, Lopes, Say, and Russell. Right in 2, 3, and 4. You got Crawford and Buckner. Ferguson can catch. And Yeager can catch. So we have a DH in our league now. So you can have Yeager and Ferguson both play, with one being a DH. Your DH catcher first, second, third, short, and a couple outfielders. It's all right there. Though we might want to see if we can find Bill Russell a year where he can play better defense. He's a forward shortstop. I don't know if you really want to play a whole season with him being a forward shortstop, thinking you're going to win a World Series or even go to the playoffs. Your pitchers. So, The important guys are here. These two guys. This is how you can win a World Series with these two dudes. Don Sutton and Jim Brewer from 72. Let's flip this Brewer card over again. You'll see this. Look at that. 78 innings pitched. He lost 7 games with a 1.27 ERA. How do you do that? 1.27 ERA is just over 1 run in 9 innings. 8 times 9 is 72. So that's 9 runs maybe he gave up and 7 to get 7 losses. That's remarkable bad luck, really, when you think about it. And Sutton still has arguably the best card of any starter. And they're coming back next year. And this could be a big year next year for the Dodgers. They bring with them Osteen and John. Now, Osteen is a 20-game winner in 72. And Tommy John's is decent in 73. So they got to find one more starter. It'll be Messersmith. They'll bring a little funny year for Messersmith to come back. And they need a brand new bullpen. They probably need one more big bat as well. So with that, let's see if the Dodgers can start building that World Series roster of 1974. Okay, let's see what the Dodgers do with their 8 players from 1971. Beginning with Billy Cohen, who does not have an association with the Dodgers. They picked him up to be a right-handed hitting outfielder because they were heavy with left-handers Crawford, Buckner, and Willie Davis. And Cohen did okay in 71 in a platoon role with the Angels. He hit 276. Nice little job in a platoon in 71. Did the same thing in 70, really. Look at that. But in 72, alas, his career is over. So he's retired. Thanks, Billy Cohen, for helping the Dodgers. He did actually okay. I think he hit 357. So he's being retired. Next guy up is Willie Davis, and we're kind of sad to see this particular card leave us. It is an excellent card for Willie Davis in 71. Arguably his best card, even though he's in his 30s here. He's 31 years old, but what a year 71 was. An all-star, Gold Glover, MVP votes, 309, 769 OPS, only topped by his 69 card. And from here on out, well, he's got a good... He still has more tenure with the Dodgers coming up, should they choose. They could choose to trade him to the Expos and bring in Mike Marshall to the bullpen. Wouldn't that be wild? Because Mike Marshall, has that amazing year for the Dodgers in 74. So that trade does not have to consummate now, because we're moving into 72 to 75. So he has 2 more years availability with the Dodgers if you want. I think we keep him in LA. I mean, why not go for this Gold Glove year in 72? So let's hold on to Willie Davis. I mean, I value a Gold Glove center fielder more than I value Mike Marshall, one of the most overrated Cy Young winners. Yeah, he could pitch every day, and I guess, that's great and all, whatever. But I don't know, man. Just something weird about 200 innings out of a reliever. It doesn't seem like you're going to get the 200 innings out of a reliever, in my opinion. Anyway, next up is Jack Heidemann. He was a short-time shortstop, played for Cleveland. I think he played for Cardinals in here somewhere. Yeah. Just a utility guy here. Known for his glove more than his bat. 72 card. I don't think that card will exist, and if it did, it wouldn't be good anyway. So let's assume it doesn't exist. He could come back in the league in 74 or 75. For all intents and purposes, let's retire the guy. Let him retire. He can always come out of retirement if he has a better card. And I think he's got an okay card, I think, in the future up here somewhere. This one. This 74 card is good. The Cardinals could go for the 74 card, but it means you have to take that card, if you understand what I mean. So you don't have the luxury of taking other Dodgers from the year of 1974, a year they went to the World Series, if you settle for Heidemann. So he doesn't qualify for waivers, so he has to be on retirement list. Some team will likely pull him out of retirement and get this 74 card because it hits 271 with some good defense. That's a decent card. So at age 24. So someone will probably pick this guy up. Could be the Dodgers. Way too much discussion for a marginal player there. And now we have Jim Rosario. We looked at this card in 4 consecutive drafts of the 71 league and only decided to get this card in the league in the 4th and final year. And it did okay, but you see the reason why is at 224 and then he's gone anyway. So he's retired. So at least he got to play a year of baseball for the Dodgers as a San Francisco Giant farmhand. Thank you, Jim Rosario. He's retired. Dodgers are already into the bad math. They've got 3 retired guys, and that will not work in the offseason. Let's go to the pitching staff, and it gets a lot more rosier here. Mr. Andy Messersmith. Plenty of eligibility left here. He's actually still had an Angel card, I think, in 71. Yeah. Has another Angel card in 72 before he gets his Dodger cards going. You've got 4 incredible years of Messersmith to consider here. We'll just put keeper. I'm not too concerned with which year it is. He's pretty consistent throughout. You can't really go wrong. And that means that the rotation will again be Sutton, Osteen, Messersmith, and John. Probably with Messersmith being in the 2-hole and Osteen sliding into the 3-hole, if I had to guess. All right, next up, we're going to start losing some relievers right here. It's going to be Pete Mickelson. Had a really nice 1970 or 69, and then not so much. Pete Mickelson. Yeah, he's getting up there. So 69 and 70 were nice years. 71, yeah, it was a nice card. It was a 3.65 ERA card. This 72 card with the Dodgers is his final year. Let's see if we can get waivers out of him in 72 with the Dodgers. We're going to go to the roster sheet for Strat-O-Matic of 72. If they didn't print his card, I can't give him waivers. They printed his card, I can give him waivers. So I'm going to put him on waivers, figuring that I can get him back if nobody else wants him, but he's nothing special. Next up, Joe Moeller. Joe Moeller. And I can stop right there. We know his career ends in 71. Dodgers now have to make some deals. They got to find some bodies here. Nice little career for Moeller, all with the Dodgers. He's done by age 28, though. That year we just had. He's got to be retired. An unexpected retirement from Joe Moeller might mean that Mickelson moves into the keeper list. Let's make Mickelson a keeper now because of that. You don't want to be too desperate and be forced into making deals that would not favor you. Gary Wasilewski, the last pitcher, he was a Yankee. He has a year in 72. How good is it? And the answer is, oh, it's a shame. It's a good year, but not enough innings. Look at that. Oakland, 72. Probably obviously helped the A's win the World Series in 72, though he may not have been on the postseason roster with just 17 and 2/3 innings. Did pitch very well in that limited 8 appearances, about inning and 2/3 per appearance. So it was a pretty decent job as a 30-year-old reliever. We could take a peek and see if Strat made him in with those small innings. Generally, they don't when you pitch less than 20. Wasilewski does not show up here, and in their extra player list, he does not show up there as well. So he is retired as well. That's good news for Pete Mickelson. Looks like he's coming back. So 5 retired players. We hate to see that large quantity of retired players. If we get more than 64 retired players, it means the waiver list loses a guy. To be considered. Every team really needs to just get 4 keepers. And if that falls short, they can find some waivered guys and make them keepers. But then you'd like to have 64 keepers, guys who have waivers in 72 to consider for the draft. And if you have too many retired guys, you have to steal one away from the waivered list. This can change, of course. The Dodgers just happen to be an older team here, So as long as we get other teams who aren't retiring a ton of guys, we should be fine. Let's look at the grand math now. And we have 56 players, so that's 7 teams. So 7 would be 28, 14, and 14. And it's 26, 16, and 14. So that's fine. You have a proper number of retired guys there, and 2 of these wavered guys would be keepers to make it 28, 14, and 14. But again, there's a lot more of this off season to do. This is just very early in the process. The Dodgers got old in front of our eyes, having to retire 5 of the players that just finished playing a last place season. So that's where the Dodgers are. Last place, very reasonable chance they bounce back in a big way next year, but they did suffer through this terrible year. The LA Dodgers being eliminated in August. Thanks for checking this video out. We'll see you next time.